Do this. We're going to be heading into game number 5 here between Quantic and MVP. The map is going to be Ohana. I haven't seen this map in a little while. Well, let's do this. Spawning in the top left position, coming out for MVP. You may know him as Vampire, but now he is Super. And spawning in the bottom right position as the red Zerg player. Really just going for the jugular the last game on Monster. It is from Quantic Gaming. It is HyuN. So, I mean, this map, Wings of Liberty, known, infamous for the Immortal Sentry all-in this matchup. But already we see the pylon being placed in a pretty interesting position for Super. He is possibly going to go with a gateway opening. Now, we've seen some players, such as Liquid Hero, open up with forges in base, just to be safe against very fast spawning pools. Of course, this is not the worst 8-pool map in the world for ZVP, but HyuN doesn't look like he wants to do anything like that. Probably just going to see him go for a 15 supply spawning pool, maybe 14 if he's feeling cheeky. But nothing just yet from Super. He's continuing to chrono out probes, which makes me think he might be looking to go for a Nexus first. But keeping the pylon here just so he can be safe. But interestingly enough, he's not going for a probe scout. So it's just a very interesting pylon positioning. And HyuN is going to go for that 15 pool. So not unusual at all out of our Quantic Zerg. And yeah, Super's just going to go Nexus first. 15, possibly just a 15 Nexus. So this isn't anything ridiculous. It's just a bit unusual. He's not scouting. He's being a bit brave here, kind of almost metagaming that HyuN isn't going to go for any kind of fast aggression. So a bit risky, but he's probably just going to throw the forge down in his main base then. And yeah, there is that forge. So this is a little bit more of a it's like an awkward defensive style. For example, if he was getting 6 pooled, but he didn't scout, so he wouldn't have known. He could have thrown down a very fast forge in his base, and he wouldn't have lost a pylon or lost the forge. So just an interesting roundabout way of doing things. But HyuN does now come in with the Overlord. He will scout this. So knowing that this kind of setup is here, he will see this Nexus. So he knows, okay, it's a Nexus first. So we should see HyuN throw down another hatchery as soon as he can. He's only built 2 Zerglings to scout with. So that drone is already headed out, and we should see HyuN take this third. So a bit interesting, I have to say, especially on this map. But now the gateway is on his way as well as the photon cannon and a gas for Super. Should take the second gas. There is. So in terms of standard follow-ups, the Stargate is the most popular. Would not be surprised at all if Super just gets Cybernetics Core, gets out of the Cybernetics, gets out of Stargate, and just goes for some Phoenix Harass. Although on this map it is rather infamous for Immortal Sentry play, but we'll have to see if that's what he wants to do. Zerglings now for HyuN, just being a bit annoying. He's pulling these probes off, and this is actually doing a lot of damage here in terms of mining time lost. Just for 2 lings, he is really distracting Super's probes right now. Delaying this gas mining as well is pretty significant. So good bit of poking here from HyuN. At the same time, he does have this 3rd hatchery on the way in the bottom left side of the map. So he's focusing on his macro, continuing to put out drones, getting these overlords as well, and he's just doing damage, economic damage without killing any workers. So you don't need to kill probes. I mean, if the probes aren't mining, that's lost mine time. He does kill a probe though, so that's actually a really nice catch. These 2 Zerglings were meant to scout, but be really worth their cost. So one of the Zerglings is dead. He may try to just pick off this last probe. He needs to be so careful. Taking some hits does get that probe. So HyuN with the most cost-effective 2 scouting Zerglings that he could possibly get. Doing a lot of work for him. So Sentry's now going to come out for Super. Pretty interesting play here, opening straight to the Sentry. He's going to pretty much deny him his ability to kill this Overlord, but Robotics Facility coming in as well. If he takes 2 gases pretty quickly in his natural expansion, he could be a sign that he wants to do something like a Sentry Immortal play. He does not have one of these gas guys. He's going to need to take the second one if he wants to be able to completely support producing the Immortals and those Sentries at the same time. This Zergling is still alive. This Zergling is not dead. It's just running around, just causing problems. So, and HyuN has all the information he could possibly want. Now the Sentry did block him from going down to scout this. Now another gas in the natural being taken. So it's all going to come down. You know, is Super going to go for this continued Sentry production? He's continuing to make them. But is it going to be an Immortal that comes out first? Will he get an Observer? It's all going to come down to how exactly he wants to take this. He's not researching any upgrades at the Forge, so it is going to be straight to an Immortal. So Ohana, Ohana means Immortal Sentry all in. very popular towards the end of Wings of Liberty. HyuN is now going to get a Roach Warren and a Lair. So with the fast third hatchery, it's all going to come down to HyuN's going to need to find a point in time where he wants to stop making drones and just start powering units. He's saturated completely in the natural expansion. He's saturated in the mineral line of the main base. And he's getting his injections up. The Lair said it's halfway done. He's going to be completely saturated in his third base. So HyuN's got a ton of drones out. But the second Immortal is on the way. And the best way to deal with this for HyuN, he's going to need a lot of units pretty damn soon. Thankfully, his aggression was able to slow down the build of Super a little bit. But not a crazy enough amount that he's going to be completely safe. We should see... HyuN does come up here. Doesn't really scout too much, but we should see Super add up and move himself to 7 gateways, which is the normal count you have. And here we go, 6 gateways on the way. He's moving up to 7 warp gates. He's going to make an Observer to follow up these Immortals, so a bit of an interesting choice to go for the Observer instead of a Warp Prism. He really wants to actually have some scouting. The Mothership Core isn't able to see too much of anything. He actually doesn't know if there's a third base or not, but now the Roach production has begun for HyuN. He's getting the Zergling speed, he's getting the Roach speed, getting a Macro Hatchery as well, and at this point, the only way for HyuN to hold this, he needs to constantly produce units from here on out, and with a 3-base saturation, if he gets enough time, he should be able to do that. Evolution Chamber coming up now as well. Overseer is produced. Now HyuN, what does he scout? He sees a lot of gateways being produced, but he only actually sees 3. So this is actually standard. Now if he can spot this 4th gateway being produced, there he goes. Now he's going to realize, hey, something's up here, man. You don't have a third base just yet. I'm scouting it right now. And now he's going to see the rest of the gateways. So he knows what's coming. HyuN knows, okay, all I need to do, not miss any injects, continue to power out tons of units, and he wants to make him use these force fields. He's already baited out a couple of them. He's going to lose a good number of these Zerglings, but he's trying to get a bit of a surround. Great force fields from Super, but the Zerglings get all the sentries, and you know what? This is how you beat the Sentry Immortal all-in. It's the same way that Protoss deals with a 1-1-1 from a Terran. You just force the siege, force him to use these force fields, and Super already completely shut down by HyuN. He's taken out a lot of the forces of HyuN, but he doesn't have any force fields. He doesn't have really what he needs to stop HyuN from continuing to just overrun him, and now the Roaches are getting close. He's going to kill one of these Immortals, it looks like. Does kill that Immortal. There's still 3 left. There's one of them with only 20 hit points, but HyuN just needs to make sure he doesn't overcommit too much to trying to stop this. He's continuing to power out these Roaches. Roach speed is complete, going to be very useful, and now there's barely any force fields available, so this is exactly why HyuN was being so aggressive. It baited out all of the force fields. He can now get a good surround with his Zerglings on the next attack. +1 attack, though, is done for Super. Keep in mind, guys, that's going to let these Zealots two-shot these Zerglings once he does get the surround, so... Proxy pylons being set up. This is such an important moment for HyuN. He needs to get a big surround here and really just burn all of, make sure he can power through all these force fields. He's going to engage from one direction. Maybe not the best idea. Force fields going down. He's moving forward with the Roaches and the Zerglings. He's getting the +1 missile attack, but it's not done yet. And Super blowing through HyuN's Roaches, looking a bit dire now. He's taking out one of the proxy pylons, but the reinforcements are coming in the form of Stalkers. There's so many sentries. These 3 Immortals just do so much damage, and the Immortal that had the no HP left is now at full shields, which is the really dangerous part versus the Roaches, and HyuN trying to bait him into the main base. He's producing 16 more Roaches. He's supply blocked, though. Needs to get out an Overlord. He can't even afford that. Force field goes down. The drones trapped in the natural. He's going to lose everything at the natural expansion. He's going for a big counterattack with these Roaches, but the sentries here prepared. He does have the photon cannon. And HyuN taking massive amounts of damage. He wasn't so far ahead in supply. He had a lot of units up. He baited the force fields, but he just took too much damage dealing with the consequences of his actions. He may die right now. He's building a bunch of spine crawlers at the third base. He's punching through into the natural with these Roaches. He's trying to break in. There's an Immortal being chrono boosted out, though. Once this is out with these Zealots, he should be able to hold this off. And now pushing into the main base. HyuN has nothing here to defend against this. He's putting out more Lings, putting out more Roaches, but there's just so much here. All of these sentries. And HyuN breaking into the natural expansion, but will actually just be killed off at the ramp. The Immortal is out, too much DPS, and now the Macro Hatchery under fire. These Overlords dying for HyuN, dropping to 50 supply. It looks like this is going to be it for our Quantic Gaming player. We could just see game number 5 go pretty damn quickly to our Protoss player for a quick 3-2 score. These Zerglings coming out desperately trying to make something happen, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do much of anything at all. And there's the GG from